On the 1st of January 2007, Romania joined the EU. Since 1997, Romania has been improving its infrastructure to allow this to happen. The way abandoned children were cared for was at the centre of these changes. EU direction has forced the closure of Romanian orphanages. Children are being found new homes. In 1997, there were 39,000 children in orphanages, known as placement centres, or CPs, as they're called in Romania. This film is the story of how some of these children have found new homes.
I started working with special needs children about 9 years ago. Because of the European Union demands, they start closing the placement centers all over Romania. So it came a day when the one in Slobozia had to be closed. As I was visiting the placement center, there was a group of 10 boys which they had nothing to do all day. We decided it's time to have our own facility, our own building, and that's how the Amara House started.
It was built in 2001 by Fundiția New Life. The Amara House was carefully designed to cater for the long-term needs of the boys. A great deal of thought was given to not only providing a pleasant family environment, but also providing the boys with the special facilities, space and love that they have been without for so long. The Amara House was set up to be a family house. It was deliberately placed in a small village, Amara, where the locals would be more accepting of the children. After a lifetime of being hidden from society, these boys are now very much a part of the community, forming firm friendships with the local children.
Foarte cu mint, nici n-am văzut copii cu mint că mai nebuni sunt ăștia noștri mici, ăștia cât am nebuni.
Băieții au fost foarte liniștiți.
De când au venit copiii pe stradă cu noi, noi suntem mulțumiți de ei, sunt respectoși, când ne văd la treabă ne ajută, sunt băieți buni.
Tot ca și ai noștri sunt și ei. Ce credeți că ai noștri sunt mai cuminți? Sau, cum să vă spune, tot. Am ce să spun de ei. Am spus asta, îmi place de ei. Când au venit cu circul, ne-au primit și pe noi. Când au venit cu altele, ne-au stigmatizat și pe noi. N-am ce să spun. Na.
The large garden operates as a farm, providing most of the vegetables eaten by the boys. The garden is to be extended, and a greenhouse is planned to help the boys grow crops that they can sell locally. Food is also preserved and is used throughout the harsh Romanian winter. The Amara House is also home to chickens, geese and ducks, so every day there are plenty of fresh eggs.
We thought we don't want just a house, we want some land in order to have the boys working a bit on the land. And the other reason was to try to support ourselves a bit. We don't want to be completely dependent on the money. So, and it's just so great to see some of the boys going to feed the chickens, or as I said earlier, Sandu to pick up the eggs. That's just wonderful. So we didn't move the boys to this house so they could sit and do nothing. We tried to involve them in daily activities and try to teach them basic skills of life.
Every morning, the boys of the Amara House spend their time engaged in stimulating activities. The carers at the Amara House try to provide for the specific educational needs of each boy: social, academic and practical skills, farming, cooking, cleaning and sewing, and learning how to integrate with a family and society. There's even a room for light therapy. After lessons in the morning, the kids will go for a walk. The Amara boys were originally from CP5, a state orphanage. Some of the other children from the orphanage are now living in Braiila, a town about an hour from Amara, and Marius visits them regularly. With EU funding, some of the children that grew up with the Amara boys in CP5 have been placed in accommodation similar to that of the Amara House. In Slobozia, Villa Marian provides a dozen boys with a home that tries to capture the family ethos. But all the children from the placement centres have difficult pasts that will continue to affect their lives. Fernell joined the boys at Amara after being sent home to his birth parents. After being beaten so badly he ruptured his spleen, he ran back to the placement centre that was closing down. Without Funditsia New Life, he would be living on the streets. Sandu was abandoned on a train aged 7. He had no name and has no relatives, only his family at the Amara House. Codrianu was abandoned on a maternity ward. Without a family, he started self-harming. After 15 years of being physically restrained, the Amara family are slowly managing to find the boy inside. Marius was abandoned by his mother as a baby. His autism meant his family felt he had no use. He doesn't talk, but he's so happy in Amara, he hums constantly. Emil's mother died when he was a baby. His grandmother couldn't afford to feed him, so he was abandoned in a placement centre. He was born with a condition which requires specialist care. Without the Amara family, he would be dead. Although Gabby was abandoned as a child, his biological family were traced. A day after being reunited with them, they decided the orphanage had changed his gypsy blood, so they returned him. Being autistic, he was always ignored until he came here. Nobody knows anything about Valley's past. His autism has always prevented him from communicating. In the Amara House, he's starting to speak.
Valley.
The Ceausescu era is over. The orphanages are closing, but the problems have not all been solved. Children are still being abandoned. The young adults from the orphanages are facing enormous obstacles, and many of Ceausescu's children still need a home, like the Amara House. The Amara House is just one project, but it has turned around the lives of these 7 boys and has been able to offer them a brighter future. However, without this house, things would be bleak.
If we don't continue having the support, then there will be no future for them. A lot of them will end up on the streets, which we tried to avoid so far, but with no support, what can you do? How can you keep a house running? I will imagine probably Emir and Codreanu and Marius, I will imagine they will be dead within days or something. And all the others having to go on the streets and beg. But the trouble is they can't even beg for money. So
Neavând o casă, neavând un ban sau orice altceva ca să te întreții sau măcar să spotolești foame atunci când îți este foame, cred că este groaznic. Și cred că unul ca Emil sau ca și Codreanu chiar ar fi murit. Deci el n-ar fi avut niciun viitor. Eu așa cred.
In Bucharest, there are more than 1,000 homeless children, among whom drug abuse, prostitution and crime are rife. 99% of street children inhale a type of paint thinner. There's a worrying increase in heroin use in Bucharest. At least 15% of street children are involved in the sex trade. Every child needs a home. Funditsia New Life requires constant support to continue its good work, without which boys like Fernell, Sandu, Valley, Gabby, Marius, Codreanu and Emil would be on the streets.
Telefon.
Se legănau pe o pânză de paianjen.
Să văd că
Pânza stea un elefant se legănau pe o pânză de paianjen. Și pentru că pânza nu s-a rupt, au mai chemat un elefant.
patul, nu, un elefant și pădure.
Pe o pânză de paianjen. Și pentru că nu se rupt, a mai chemat un elefant.
10 elefanți pe o pânză de păianjă și pentru că nu s-au rupt, am mai ce au murzut.